It's a breath called it's called the bee breath. And there's different ways of doing it, but basically it's closing off the ears and taking a deep breath in, and then as we exhale, we make like a little humming sound of a bee. And it actually stimulates the Ajna chakra, the third eye. So the way to do it, again, there's different ways you might have learned, but you close off with your thumbs. You're going to close off the ears, and then you can rest the index finger kind of on the forehead somewhere, and then again, rest your fingers where it's comfortable, but you can take the other fingers to like the bridge of the nose. Some people like to close off the mouth with the pinky, but I find that it really stretches out the fingers, but you find what's comfortable for you. The main thing is closing off the ears here, and then the other fingers can find a sweet place to rest. Okay, and then what we do is we take a deep breath in and breathing into the lungs. And then as you exhale, you just, it's like a hum. Okay, so then you guys can try it with me if you haven't. Go ahead and take a big breath in. And then exhale, humming. Inhale again. See if you can feel the vibration in the head and the third eye. We'll do two more. Deep, full breath in. And one more, inhale. And then release the hands. And we'll just take a couple of Ujjayi breaths, resting the tip of your tongue on the roof of the mouth. Deep breath in, finding a softness in the cheekbones. And then follow that exhale out. So, you know, in this season that we continue to spiral into, what else for you might be ready to let go? Inhaling. Maybe it's an emotional state or a mental state. And exhale. And last breath in. Imagine that you're filling every little nook and cranny of your lungs with this life force breath. And just pause a little bit at the top, lifting up on the pelvic floor. Again, bringing your awareness to anything you want to let go of, you're ready to let go of. And then exhale. This can be physically too. And sometimes we hold on in our large intestines. We hold and it causes constipation. So what in you can let go there? Great. And then let's inhale, let our eyes open. And then we're going to do a little twist from here. So we'll twist the hands over to the right hand back behind, and just take a moment to exhale, to yield, to let the sitting bones move down apana, that downward flowing prana. That's the letting go energy, the apana. And then from that, you can start to find more lift and vertical. Inhale through the spine. The top of the head reaches to the sky. Exhale, gently twist into the navel. And one more nice full in-breath. And finish the exhale with a twist. Good, and then inhale, come back, and we'll go to the other side, left hand back. And again, starting with that exhale, the deep release. So sometimes that comes in the shoulders first, the jaw, gravity. And then inhale, we lift, lengthen, extend. Exhale, eyes look to the left. Let's take another deep breath in and a full exhale all the way out. And then inhale, come back to center, and let's walk the hands out in front. And just reach forward and see if you can open up into that lower back area. So I'm going to ground the sitting bones towards our mat. And just see if you can breathe into the sacrum and the lumbar spine and even into the kidney band. Just opening that area. And exhale all the way out. We'll walk our hands back in and then just set the fingertips behind you and lift up through the front of the spine, opening up the throat, the palate, the front of the lungs. And take a few deep breaths in. Good, you guys. And then we'll exhale, come back to center, and let's make our way over onto all fours for our cat-cow movement. So bringing the hands directly underneath the chest. Let's go ahead and start with the exhale, rounding the back and press down into the arms. So again, we open up that whole band in the lower back, the lumbar. We're going to free up the lumbar a little bit today. And then inhale from the tailbone, lift the chest, arch the back, look up, draw the chest forward. And then on the exhale, curl and round and press into the arms, chin to chest. And inhale. So you just find your own little rhythm here. And just keep the inquiry happening of where can you let go. It's the most important thing in the fall, right, is for us to let go. We let go of grief. We let grief flow. We let go of any physical holding in the body. Inhale and exhale, especially in our digestion, just letting it flow. And 2 more breaths on your own. Finding that sweet flow. Good, and then exhaling back to neutral. And let's take a big step forward with our hands. So we'll come into puppy pose. Stretching the arms way out in front. Yeah, plug those finger pads into the earth and then inhale, lift the inner and outer edges of your armpits, like your little sails catching the wind. And then on the exhale, we soften and melt. Melt the heart, melt the forehead. Reach the sits bones back one at a time. And just keep nourishing your whole body with your breath. So every inhale, we bring life force, movement, breath into the organs. Every exhale, we get to let go of the holding, the toxicity. Great. One more big full in breath. And then exhale all the way out. Good. And then come up and back onto your knees. And we're going to actually tuck the toes under. So we'll do a little toe stretch here as we sit back. You can have the knees and feet together a little bit apart. That's fine. And you just find your sweet spot, which might mean the hands down here on the floor. So we're going to take a couple of lion's breaths here, which is really good for the throat, just the immune system, and also for letting go. Okay. So if there's anything you want to really release, this is just a good place. Bring your intention here. And you can do this with the hands on the thighs or on the floor. And take a big breath in. And then the tongue sticks way out. We open the eyes big. And make a little noise with your exhale. Deep breath in. Exhale, big letting go. And one more big in breath. We'll come back to this again. And exhale. Great. And then we'll come back onto all fours. And let's slide our way into downward dog. So slide your hips back, and let's start in our first dog pose with the knees a little bit bent. And just imagine you have a little sling around the top of the thigh bones. And that sling is pulling you back and up towards the sky, lifting the hips, lengthening the spine. And breathe. Just come back to some deep breath. And then walk your dog. So straightening one leg at a time, inhaling and exhale, side to side. Just feel the nourishment of movement. We move our bodies. I was in a great Rolfing symposium this last weekend, and one of the teachers said, wherever we're experiencing pain, there's often a lack of breath. And so the more we can bring breath, the more movement happens in the body and the less stuck we feel. Okay, so take another full breath in, and then exhale, walk your hands back to your feet. And separate the feet about hip distance apart. Outer feet parallel. Take a nice big breath in here, open the chest nice and big and wide. And then exhale, fold, deep bow. And you can let your weight just gently rock forward and back, side to side. Find that place right in the center and just sway a little bit. Let your head and neck release fully. Yeah. Great. And then we'll bend the knees and slowly roll all the way up to standing. Great. And let's go ahead and scoot the feet a little bit closer. And we're just going to take two fists here on the inner thighs, side by side, and you're just going to squeeze. And this can also be done with a block, right? We just want to activate these inner thighs, the adductors. You're just going to squeeze in, and then you can release your fist. Just squeeze in and then press the top of the thigh bones back. So this is step one for the lower back. Yeah. Squeezing that imaginary block or the block. And then you're going to press the block back behind you. Okay, that's going to create an inner spiral with the thighs. Then you want to let the tailbone drop towards the earth. Okay, and this is called stability. We want to create stability in the low back. Then inhale, let's reach the arms up to the sky. And exhale, fold forward. And bow. And just take about 5 full breaths here. So we inhale, squeeze those inner thighs. Good. And then exhale, root down through the feet, the 4 corners of the feet. Beautiful. Inhale, look up from here. Squeeze that block, hands to the hips. Exhale, and then inhale, come all the way back up to standing. And exhale. Good. Let's take our block out. And we'll come up to the top of our mats. And yeah, let's do a little series of sun salutations. We'll just start out with a modified A, sun salute, and then we'll go into the first sun salutation, and then we'll do some modifications. So hands to the heart. And again, just bring your awareness back to the movement of the breath, the circulation. The inhale, filling up the lung. The exhale, releasing, letting go, softening. Great. And then inhale, one big breath in, let the eyes open. Exhale the arms down by your sides. Keep spreading the feet into the earth as you inhale. So think about rooting down as the arms come up. Look to the thumbs. Exhale, turn the hands out and we'll fold forward. Take a big swan dive and take a deep bow, folding in. And then inhale to the hands to the shins. Look up halfway. Lengthen, nice and long through the spine. Exhale, we'll step the left leg back into a lunge. Bring the back knee down to the floor. And then inhale, come on up, reaching the arms up overhead. Hook the thumbs. Yeah, we'll just take a slight bow here. And you want to scissor the legs towards each other. And then inhale, lift up from the belly, from the pelvis, lift up. And soft gaze up towards the fingers and breathe. So don't overdo the arch in the back, right? We want to keep those lower ribs sewing and knitting in. Yeah, take another deep in-breath. And then exhale, release the hands. Let's lift that back knee off the floor and just hold here in a lunge for a couple of breaths. So we want to roll that back thigh bone inward. Square off the hips and exhale, soften the hips, reach the chest forward. Do a little pulse here. Inhale, lift the hips. And exhale, soften. Great. And then lift the hips, plant the hands, step back to plank. Deep breath in here. And exhale, knees bent. Let's do this first one, Ashtanga Pranam, chest to the floor. And we'll slide our way into Bhujangasana, the cobra. And take a few extra breaths here. Yeah, so we're just gonna sway a little bit side to side. And I like to just think of burrowing the hips down, right? Planting the tops of the feet on the floor and moving like a snake side to side. And then taking a full breath in for full cobra and exhale, lower and press back to the knees. And you can either come into half dog or the full downward facing dog for 5 Ujjayi breaths. And observe the cycle of breath. So we also want to, we're doing all this work to cultivate form, and then we want to let go of the form too, right? And just feel the whole energy of the pose. And then at the bottom of your next breath, look up between your hands, step your left foot forward. We'll bring the back knee down. Great. And inhale, come on up and just hook the opposite thumbs that you just had. Yeah. So we'll bring the arms up, take a slight bow. You scissor those legs and knit the ribs. And then gently curl back. So it's more of an up movement, lifting the rib cage up off of the pelvis and breathe. Great. And then one more big in breath. And exhale, release, lift your back knee off the floor. Great. Just taking a few breaths here in the lunge. You can move your hips slightly forward and back, side to side. Let's step all the way forward into Uttanasana, inhaling halfway up. And exhale, just fold forward. And imagine you have that block between your thighs, or maybe just a little ball, a soft ball, and you're giving it a little hug, pressing it towards the back wall. Good, and then inhale, lead with your heart, sweep your arms by your sides and all the way up to the sky. And then on the exhale, bring the hands to the heart and just take a moment of pause. Yeah.
Your earbuds aren't working, but maybe they're not charged, but we can still hear. So
no, I know, but it's better if they are. What is going on? They've got lots of charge. Let's see. Oh, I know what's going on. I always do this. It's like my phone is, there we go.
I think they're on, yeah.
Okay, I think they're on now and they won't go off. So thank you. Okay, let's come back up to the front of our mats and just take a moment here, palms open. And just let the lungs be open here and receiving the breath in and letting go at the same time of the breath out. So we really work with that receiving and offering with our breath. So we'll inhale, take a big breath in, arms up overhead, turn the palms out, exhale, just a nice big flow up and over. Forward fold, inhale to a halfway lift. And then exhale, let's step both feet back. We'll come right into plank pose. And inhale here, strong legs, but soft open heart, looking slightly out in front. And lower either straight legs or knees bent all the way down. And inhale, coming into cobra, big breath in, heads of the arm bones back, heart open. Exhale, lower, and we'll press back through the knees, back to downward dog. And breathe. Soften, open. If you can really sense and feel into the soles of the feet, palms of the hands, there's a real softening and opening. So you're both able to receive and let go. That apana, the bottom of the breath. The deep, deep letting go of the patterning, the holding. The inner thighs move back and wide. Outer ankles hug in. Good, we'll take another deep breath in and follow the next out breath to the tail end, look between the hands, hop or step forward. Inhaling, look up halfway, lift from the belly to the heart. Exhale, fold in, ground the feet. Inhale, sweep the arms like you're circling yourself. Big, light energy. Exhale, the arms come down the center line, down by your side. Let's just do one more right into Surya Namaskar A. Inhale, exhale, flow up and over, and deep bow. Good. Inhaling, reach the heart, radiate, exhale, step or hop, plank pose, just one breath here, inhale, and exhale, lower. And you can come into cobra, or if you feel warm enough, upward dog. Oh, I don't feel quite warm enough yet. And exhale, make your way back, downward facing dog. And breathe. Good, so we'll just find a little slight micro bend in the elbows. Hug the shoulder blades onto the back and then re-straighten the arms. Let the back of the neck go and breathe. Take some long, extended Ujjayi breaths. And the tip of the tongue is resting softly on the roof of the mouth. And we'll take one more big in-breath and follow the exhale all the way out. Look to the hands and hop or step forward, inhaling. Halfway lift. Exhale, fold. And then inhale, arms reach wide up to the sky. And exhale, Samastitihi, coming back onto your plumb line. Let's bring the hands together here. Great. And then we'll bend the knees and sweep the fingertips to the floor. Come into Utkatasana. So start by moving the tailbone back and open up your tail feathers here. Good, and then scoop the tailbone slightly as you reach the arms up by the ears. And just take a breath or two here. Shoulders relax, letting go of the tail. Good. And then inhale, straighten, and exhale, fold forward. Great. Deep bow and inhale halfway up. Let's step the right leg back into a lunge here. And let's come up into high lunge, hands on the hips. Pause here. Yeah, and find a little bend in the back of your knees and actually put a hand on the belly and a hand on the low back. Right, and you want to find that slight posterior tilt. And then once you have that, then re-straighten the back leg. Inhale, reach both arms up. Yeah, and root down from the pelvis. You're going to think of rooting into earth, and that's going to bring more extension, more lift, more rise. And then exhale. Good. We'll reach down, touch the floor. And this time turn the back foot to the floor. So it's turned in about 45 degrees. And inhale, sweep right up into Virabhadrasana 1. So root the outer edge of your back foot. And again, root to rise. Curl back. And then let's open it right up to Virabhadrasana 2. Turning the back toes out a little bit more. And just settle in here for a breath or two. Good. Eyes are soft. See if you can soften the joints. Maybe even letting go of the overdoing it energy. Good. And then sweep the arms back to the floor. We'll come back downward dog. So resting here, unless you want to move through vinyasa, you're welcome to, but otherwise just taking a few breaths. Catching your breath. Good. And then at the bottom of our next breath, we'll step our right foot forward. And come on up with the hands here on the hips and bend your back knee. So again, we'll place a hand on the belly, hand on the sacrum. And you can just gently coax the pelvis into a posterior tilt. Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to keep my back knee bent, but if you feel like you can straighten the back leg a little bit more, go for it. Inhale, sweep the arms up, crescent lunge. And we sink into the pelvis to get more lift and opening. Great. And then exhale, bow forward, touch the floor. Turn the back foot 45 degrees out and come back up. Virabhadrasana 1. Reach the arms up, hips are squared towards the front. Just a couple of breaths here. Yeah, and then we'll open it right up to Vira 2. Good, good. Just taking a few breaths. Let the arms find a place of neutrality. Yeah, gazing off the fingertips with a soft gaze. Ujjayi breath. Where is there a lack of breath? And can you bring more breath into those areas? Great. On the next inhale, reach the arms to the floor. We'll step back to down dog and breathe. Nice long Ujjayi breaths. You're welcome to move through a vinyasa or just stay here. Yeah. Slowing down the breath, listening, ears open. Noticing your body find more organization, more order on the inner as you practice. Great. And then let's walk our feet together and take a one-legged dog, right leg to the sky. Inhale. Exhale, step forward, turn the back foot out again. This time we're going to come up into Vira 2 first. So just for a breath or so. Find yourself in the vertical here, right? And then we're going to make our way into triangle, straightening the front leg. Inhale, open up the right arm. And exhale, bring your hand to the shin. And then maybe the ankle if you have that flexibility. Yeah, it's kind of like you're going to slide your body into a manila envelope. Yeah. So with the tailbone, we reach the tailbone back towards the back heel, and then the crown of the head reaching in the same direction as the front toes. Eyes are soft, smile. Find your breath. Infuse the pose with breath. And can you let go of any tension in your face, your jaw, the need to get anywhere? Good, and then we'll exhale from here. We're gonna make our way into the half moon. So if you have a block handy and you wanna take your block with you, you're welcome to. I'm gonna take the back foot in just a foot or so and shift the weight up onto the right leg. And you can always start here with both hands down, or if you're using a block, the block is like a foot or so in front of the little toe, okay? And then eventually you take your hand up onto your left hip and you can stop here again and pause. Okay, so root down through the standing leg, pull that outer right hip crease back, and then from there start to open up. So you want to have your left foot in a place you can see it in your peripheral vision. And then eventually the left arm goes up and we look up towards the thumb and breathe. If you can experience some freedom in the rib cage and the chest here. And then on your next exhale, good, look down. We'll place both hands back down, square off the hips, and then bend the front knee and come back into a lunge just for a breath. And then we'll just walk the hands over to the left and pause here with the feet parallel. After the half moon, there's a part of me that wants to come here and just like take a nap. You're just gonna rest. Take a few breaths. Great. And then we'll walk our hands over to the left, turn the left foot out. Inhale, sweep the arms up into Virabhadrasana 2, just to start. This is just a starting point. Then straighten out the front leg. Open up the left arm, Utthita Trikonasana. And the hand comes to the shin or ankle. And turn and look up towards the thumb and breathe. Nice, long, extended Ujjayi breath. Listen to your breath. The toes are open. We ground through the ball of the big toes. Yeah. And the legs are fully engaging. Get that nice extension in the spine here. Good. And then into the half moon we go. So we look down at the foot, bring your back foot in a little bit and shift your weight onto the left leg. And right leg reaches up and back behind. Okay. Yeah. We ground into the standing leg. Bring the right hand onto the right hip. You can start here, and then eventually we reach the right arm up. And you can play with looking, keeping your gaze down, or maybe eventually looking up. Lots of energy in that floating leg in the back. Make sure you can see your toes. Good, you guys. And then exhale, look down, shift the hips so they're squaring, bend the knee. Yeah, and just come back into a lunge for a moment. And we'll walk our hands back over to the right and just pause. Fold forward in Uttanasana, Prasarita Padottanasana. Fold forward. Deep bow. And just listen with your mouth relaxed, jaw soft and open. Inhale and exhale. We'll walk back to the front of our mats and let's just slide our way back to downward dog. Great, you guys. We'll just take a breath or two here, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Okay, and then we're gonna walk up to the top of our mats. And inhale, big breath in, lengthen the spine. Find that block between your thighs again, and exhale, hands to the hips. And slowly inhale, come on up to standing. Let's open up the palms and just take a moment here, eyes closed. And just see if you can feel your body in space. Notice where you're still holding. So there's a lot of patterning that we do in our bodies where we don't even know we're holding on, right? But we're like gripping our buttocks or we're hunching our shoulders in a way to protect our hearts. And some of these patterns have been there a long, long time. So we're just maybe just starting to notice, bring awareness. Bring the breath in. Okay, and then let the eyes open. Good, you guys. And we're going to shift our weight over onto the left leg and lift the right knee. And do a little series of balancing. So you can take a hold of your knee, the shin. Yeah, and press down into that standing leg, lift up through the chest. Great. Good, good. And then let's just hold the knee with the right hand, take the leg out to the side. You can bring your other arm out just for balance. Good, inhale back to center, and then let's switch hands. Take a hold of the knee with the left hand and reach your right arm behind you. Now we're going to take a little twist. So keep your hips level. And then you can slowly turn your gaze to the back. You got to stay pretty grounded in that standing leg to avoid falling over. So we root down, open up. And then inhale, coming back to center. Good, you guys. And then we'll just take it right into, if you can, if you fall out, it's fine. If you can, you want to come right into the tree pose. So bring your foot right to the inner thigh. And feel free to use the wall if you find balance is challenging today. Yeah. So drop the tail towards the earth and find the top of your head towards the sky. Reach it towards the sky, good. So if this is pretty easy, you can play with the full tree, which is arms up overhead, either slightly apart or palms touching. Okay. Good. And then if it still feels pretty easy, you can play with closing your eyes, play with the balance. Oh, yeah. Very good. And then we'll exhale, release the arms, and we'll release it. And just go ahead and shake out the leg, maybe sway the hips a little bit in some circles. Whew. Good stuff. Okay, and we'll come on to the right leg now, holding on to the left knee. Yeah, and just stay here. Root down through the standing leg, lift up through the heart. Let go of the jaw tension, the shoulders. And then we'll take that leg out to the side. Maybe take the arm out. Good, and then inhale back to center, and we'll switch hands. So the left arm comes back and we do a little bit of a spinal twist here, standing twist. And gaze is back behind. And then inhaling, come back. Good, and exhale, let's take it into tree. If you need to come out, that's fine. Hands fold at the heart, yeah. So remember, balance is dynamic, right? It's when we're actually working balance, we're in movement. We're in constant kind of oppositional movement. And then if it feels good, arms up overhead. Mhm. So we root, rise, open, expand. Yes. And when you've had enough, whoo, release it, shake it out, sway the hips a little bit. Nice, everyone. That's great. Let's come back to the front of our mats. And we'll take Uttanasana, holding onto the elbows. So you can just hold your elbows and hang forward. Got a little wave of sleepiness. So I feel like this happens a lot in the fall. So just go with a few moments of rest and restore here. Keep a hold of that block, imaginary block between the thighs. So you're waking up those inner line of the legs. Yeah, and then we'll inhale, look up, and exhale. Let's just walk back gently into downward dog. Yeah, and then we'll slide our left knee between the hands for half pigeon. And you can adjust your left foot out if it needs to go out more to open the hips. Yeah, and we'll take a nice big breath in here. So make sure that back leg is rolling internally. You can tuck the toes and roll the leg in and then repoint the toes. I love having a little support under my head. So if you have a block or anything, you can put it under your head. And we'll just take a good 10 breaths here, a little more restorative where we can stay longer and hold longer. And when we do that, we get into some deeper layers of letting go. So see if you can just find that first edge and work there. Work with your breath. Inhaling and exhale. And any of that, maybe even unconscious holding in the hips and pelvis, like many of us in the West, just the way we live our lives, to hold in this area. Just allow the body's intelligence to do the release. Allow gravity to help release any residual holding. Take another 3 breaths or so. Go with the jaw. Great. We're going to just nice and slowly make our way back up. And we'll do a quad stretch here. So bend your right knee, take a hold of your foot. And just lightly hug the heel in towards the outer hip as you look over to the left shoulder. This nice little shoulder opener. Yes. And then on the exhale, release your foot. We'll sit over onto the left thigh. So just going to come right into the mermaid here. And we'll start by taking the right hand back and the left arm overhead. So just imagine your left arm is like a peacock feather. Yeah, just moving through air. Bring the breath deep into the side body, the sides of the ribs. You're opening up the lungs by opening up those side ribs, intercostals. And then inhale and exhale. Get right into a twist, left hand down, right hand to the outside of the knee. It's gazing up off your left shoulder. Take a few breaths here. Deep breath in. Full breath out. Good. Nice, you guys. And then inhale and exhale, release. Great. Let's pick it up. And we'll slide back to downward dog just to get some nice stretch through the legs. Big sigh. And then inhale the right knee forward. And again, make any adjustments with the foot. And take a couple of big breaths here, inhaling just to make your way into the pose. And exhale, walk it out. And find your sweet spot here, your sweet spot of release. And then just go in. And then we go in and into all the layers. With every exhalation, we soften another layer. With every inhalation, we bring a little more light, a little more life force into the body. The cheekbones soften. And find a soft smile across the face. And just take another breath or two. Anything that is ready to go. Maybe there's something small, maybe there's something big. Maybe there's a pattern in yourself you've seen that really no longer serves you anymore. You can just let it soften and melt. And then we'll crawl our way back up and do a little quad stretch, bending the back knee, pull the heel towards the outer hip. Take a little bit of an opening to the right with the gaze. And then on the exhale, release and just sit all the way over to the right and bend this left knee for mermaid. And so we'll go back first, left hand back, right arm opens like a peacock feather. We just let this hand be soft. Yeah, that's it, Sarah. Good, Kath. And inhale, come on up, and exhale, twist to the right, right hand back, left hand on the knee. Couple of breaths. Good, and inhale, release, and let's scoot our way back onto our knees. And we'll take it into another puppy pose. Hand shoulder width apart, and we just reach the sitting bones back. Breathe deeply. Good. And let's do one more pose for the rib cage here, coming up onto all fours. Great. And then we're going to pick up the left arm, inhale and exhale, thread that arm through and come down onto the left shoulder with your head down as well. The trick here is to keep your hips level. So they want to kind of go off to the right. You're going to bring them back over a little bit so they're even. And then come up onto the right fingertips and glide your shoulder back as you look a little bit more to the right. Breathe. So you should feel this in your Kind of your rotator cuff in your shoulder. All those intercostals there on the left side of your rib cage. Great. And then inhale, come on up. Come back onto all fours. Pick up the right arm. Inhale and exhale. Thread the arm through and come down onto the shoulder and the head. We'll keep our hips level and breathe. And just listen to your breath. Soft Ujjayi breaths in and out. Notice where there's any holding. If you can soften it with the breath, move the energy, move the stuckness. And then inhale, come on up. Good, and exhale. Let's sit back on our seat here. And we'll come into doing a little bit more work for the back. So we got a few more minutes. So let's come into Dandasana here, and we'll roll the thighs in and pull the buttocks flush back here and just sit up tall in Dandasana. So the chin is going to go slightly down for Jalandhara Bandha. Feet are open like they're in Samastitihi. And still a little bit of pranayama here. So just Ujjayi breaths, and just feel the breath circulating here in the spine. And maybe even a little pause at the top of the breath. Same thing at the bottom of the breath. Good. And then inhale, lift the head, reach the arms overhead. And exhale, hinge at your hips. Okay, so just come as far forward as you can without rounding. I just want to keep that extension in the spine. You guys are welcome to use a block around the feet if that's helpful. Not a block, a strap. Yeah, and just make sure that the feet are not sickling out, right? So we pull the outer edges of the feet back towards the hips. And then inhale and exhale, elbows wide as you come forward. So again, we just go to that first layer and wait. We have a lot of patience when we're doing any kind of hamstring work and forward bends. If there's any discomfort in the back, you can just come out and hold more of a Dandasana. Just 2 more breaths here. And then inhale, come on up. And exhale, we'll pull the left knee out for Janu Shirshasana, pulling your foot in. Great. And then inhale from here. Both arms go up. We're going to move the left rib cage towards the right thigh. So there's a little twist before you go in, and then exhale, come forward and take your ankle or your foot, or again, if you have your strap. I like to use my right hand kind of on the outside here. And then inhale, another breath, lift, lengthen, extend, and exhale. Again, go in. Keep breathing, Ujjayi breaths. Relax the jaw. We're just going to do one more breath here. Inhale. And on the exhale, just drop in. Go to the deep inward Apana energy. And inhale, come on up. Good. Let's just switch sides. We're gonna straighten out the left leg. Come back to Dandasana. And then the right knee comes out to the side as you pull your foot in. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale. Janu Shirshasana. So feel free to use your left hand on the outside. Inhale, it's like a little outrigger. And exhale. And just go in, take about 5 breaths here. One more big in breath and a full out breath. Good. And inhale, come on up. And exhale, straighten out the legs again. And let's take it into Purvottanasana. Love this pose as a counter pose to forward bend. So hands back and elbows bend a little bit. And here you can roll the shoulders back. Good. And then lift. You got to hoist the hips up. If it's too much, you can bend your knees. So you hoist your hips and roll the thighs in as you reach the inner feet to the floor and open. This pose can be a lot. So if it feels like too much, just bend the knees, come to the more of a tabletop position. Yeah. And then exhale, gently release the hips back and down. Great. And then let's make our way onto the floor, actually. I'm feeling the floor. And we'll draw the knees in, give yourselves a little squeeze. Roll side to side. If you have a strap, you can take a hold of your strap. And if not, don't worry. So we're gonna bring the right leg down. Keep your right knee bent to start with. And you'll hold your left leg either with a strap around the balls of the toes or the back of the hamstring. So either of those two options are perfectly fine. Now, depending on your flexibility and where your body's at this morning, you can straighten the right leg out if that feels good. And imagine that you have a sandbag sitting on that right thigh. Yeah. And breathe. So we just start here. Think about the hips parallel, right? And that left femur bone resting back into the socket. We're not going to go too much further than that right now. And breathe, 5 breaths. This is so good for the stability of the back here. And you want to still imagine you have that little ball and you're just slightly hugging the ball between your thighs. And if you want to stay here, if this feels the most secure in your back, you're welcome to just keep working this. Very therapeutic. Otherwise, you'll take your strap or your leg in one hand, and you're going to bring it about 45 degrees out to the side. You can ground your right thigh with your right hand. Yeah. And then the gaze looks off the right shoulder. And if I was with you in person, I would just come over and put a little grounding onto your right thigh bone. So you can do that for yourself. Ground your right thigh bone. Beautiful. And then we'll inhale, bring it back up. And we're going to shift the right foot into the strap or just switch legs. And you just see if you want to have your left leg bent or straight. You might notice a difference in sides with your hamstring flexibility. Mine's much tighter on this side. I'm just giving it a little more slack, right? Keep the hips level. Imagine a sandbag on your left thigh. Deep breath. Lots of letting go can happen in the hamstrings too. I think it's another place in the body where we hold a lot. Very good. And then exhale. You can take the leg out 45 degrees using the left hand to ground the left thigh. Great. So legs are quite active. Both your legs are quite actively extending through the bones. Knees off the left shoulder. And then inhale, come back up. And we'll release the strap. And good. And then let's stretch out the legs onto the floor. Stretch the arms overhead. Feel pretty good. Give yourself a full body stretch here. Excellent. And then we'll bend both the knees. So we'll get ready for bridge pose. And again, if you have a block and you want to have it handy, it's always nice to keep revisiting that, squeezing the block with the inner thighs to wake up the inner line of the legs. Either way is fine. You want to have the natural curves of your spine. And then inhale, lift your hips and come up onto the shoulders. And then once you're here, interlace the hands, walk the shoulders straight in, free up the chin and the throat. Just breathe. Nice full Ujjayi breath. Breathe into the ribs, the intercostals, the diaphragm. Letting go with the out breath. One more deep breath in. And then exhale, lower. And you can just let the knees rest into each other, hands on the belly. Deepen your breath. It's great. And just for the kind of ultimate feeling of freedom in the lungs and the ribs, I thought we would just finish with a fish pose. So for fish, we want to extend the legs out. You guys know this. Tuck the hands under the outer edges of the buttocks. Press into the elbows and come on up. And you can start with your gaze looking at your toes. And then you want to really puff up the ribs here and let the head go back. So find what's comfortable. If having the head back is too much, you just look forward. If you want to go deeper, you can come all the way down onto the head, walking the elbows. And you can do like a little mini lion's breath here. Good. A couple more breaths. And to come out, you lift the head all the way up and exhale, lie back. And I love just enjoying the fruits of that pose. Just feel the freedom, the opening, the little bit of a rush. So you can make any final adjustments that you need to make in your body, any extra clothes for the final Shavasana. The shoulders drip and rest back. Back of the skull widens, broadens. And just let everything soften the face. Muscles around the cheekbones and the forehead. And let the chest cavity soften. The lungs just returning to their natural rhythmic breath. Feel the diaphragm expanding as you inhale, gently contracting as you exhale. Allowing the skin on the soles of the feet, the palms of the hands, to simply soften, melt. Like you're holding a rose in the center of the palm. And to slowly make our way back to the room, back into our bodies, and just allowing any of that old density in our physicality, just keep letting it slough off. Don't hold on, let it go. And turn to that inner state of peace as you begin to deepen your breath and begin to wiggle the toes and fingers and stretch the arms overhead, the legs out. Bend the knees and just gently roll over to your side, taking a pause. You'll press your way up to a comfortable seat with the hands folding at the heart. Deep gratitude. Let me take a bow. Namaste.